Good morrow, scholars. Welcome back to Asylum. How you doing today? Sorry again for being a little bit behind. I had a real struggle of a time trying to sleep last night, and I just couldn't get out of bed this morning. And then when I finally did, I was too hungry and thirsty to do anything, so yeah. Anywho, we are in chapter 33, page 275. Dan ran headlong through the rain, no longer caring that he was soaked to the bone. I just drank some milk, so I'm probably gonna be slurring and stuttering more. Strawberry milk. Anyway, he needed to get back. He needed the safety of other people. He needed to tell the police what he'd found. But they'll suspect you. You know they will. Why didn't he take a picture? I know that sounds really morbid, but you know how in movies, or really any type of media, where, the character finds something, but someone's trying to make it look like they're going crazy, so they'll move it, and they come back to show everybody, and it's like, but it was here, I swear, which I think is the trope name, or something along those lines. If you took a picture of it, and then you showed it to them, never mind. What was that? He needed to tell the police what he found. But they'll suspect you. You know they will. Dan pulled up short, a final sprint away from the front doors of Brookline. I wouldn't have been able to do that. It was true. They would. They would think he did it. Hadn't Mr. Biddle just told him that Sal Weathers was spreading news around town of his little visit? And wouldn't Officer Teague find it more than coincidental that once again Dan was the first at the scene of a crime? It hardly mattered that Dan hadn't blacked out or anything at all this time. The circumstantial evidence would be more than enough. Play it cool, Crawford. No one knows where you were. Oh, geez. In his panic, he dropped his scissors back in the forest. Should he go back and get them? No. Too late. He waited for his pulse to slow as much as it possibly could, barely even noticing the rain by now. With a last deep breath, he jogged through the front doors at exactly the pace any other student might run in from the rain. What? Second floor, third floor, 3808. Dan opened the door to his room as calmly as he could, then slammed it closed when he realized Felix was at home. What? Thank goodness. You're fine. Everything's going to be fine. Dan dried himself with a towel, still shaking violently, and slapped his face hard with both hands, trying to think of what to do next. Where did you go? What's your alibi? Will anyone think to ask Mr. Biddle if he saw you? Mr. Biddle, relative of a murderer. Could he have been the copycat all this time? What was he doing at the church tonight with the doors locked anyway? Sorry. Why had he wanted to keep Dan out of the sanctuary? Oh gosh. Dan thought he was going to be sick. Oh no. A sudden pounding at the door nearly gave him a heart attack. Who is it? He shouted, his voice cracking on the last word. It's me, Jordan, he said. Open up. Sorry. With one final glance in the mirror, Dan fixed his hair and tried to look something like normal. Out in the hall, Jordan was no better. A flustered ball of energy, scarf and spectacles. Come quick, Jordan said breathlessly. Abby's a total wreck. Abby? A wreck? Of course. The phone call. Her father, Lucy. I take it the call didn't go as planned, Dan said, following Jordan out into the hall. Not even a little bit. Hey, why are you all wet? Tell him you were in the shower. I was outside. Why were you outside? I went to scratch for food. I was still hungry after the pie. I saved Dan. Bring an umbrella next time, doofus. They found Abby sitting on her bed. Knees tucked up to her chest. Dan noticed the portrait of the girl that had once hung over Abby's bed was gone. Hey, Jordan said, rushing in and taking the spot beside her. He put one arm over her shoulders. She was shaking uncontrollably as a fresh wave of sobs hit her. Calm down, Abs, and tell Dan what happened. I feel so bad for her. Like, I called him. I called him, and yet he was so mad. I've never heard him yell like that. He was yelling and yelling, and then he got so quiet, which was worse. She paused out of breath and then sniffled, her sobs slowing for the moment. Maybe I got it all wrong. Abby peered up at him, brown eyes glossy with fresh tears. Should I have just kept my mouth shut? I don't know. I'm not sure, Abby. I don't know your dad. Abby stopped crying just long enough to stare at him. Jordan gave him a look like he had lost it. If only he knew. All I know is that you had the best intentions and you can't get mad at yourself. Exactly, Jordan chimed in. Your dad will come around eventually. Pop's refusing to talk about it again. Understandably, I guess. I tried to explain what he said. He said I was sick, delusional for even bringing it up. Jordan pointed to the box of tissues on her desk and Dan retrieved them. He doesn't understand. I didn't do it to be mean. It's his sister. I thought he would be happy. Abby took a tissue and started shredding it. You tried, Jordan said gently. You tried, and that's all that matters. He probably just needs some time to think it over. Jordan's right, it's... What the heck is that? Or was that? Sorry. Dan had gone to sit on Abby's desk. But he stopped, hearing a rustling outside the door. Shh. Dan pressed his finger to his lips. Sorry. A tiny square of paper appeared under the door. That's not possible. He babbled. You were the one writing the notes. No one else. It was you all along. Who the heck is this? Dan threw open the door, but he was a second too late. The corridor outside lay empty. He bent down and picked up the note, unfolding it with a familiar sick feeling in his stomach. At least the handwriting on this note wasn't the spidery script of the warden. Dan hadn't completely lost it. What does it say? Jordan asked from the bed. Dan read the note. It's time for treatment. Come to the basement at midnight. Okie dokie. Chapter 34. Huh. Dan, this is ridiculous, Abby whispered urgently. Why are we going down to the basement if there's someone dangerous down there? She and Jordan were trailing him on his warpath to the old wing. You and Jordan don't have to come. In fact, you probably shouldn't. But I have to do this. I have to confront him. I, for one, am not going back down there, Jordan said. And for the record, I think you're nuts for even considering it. Please, can't we just go to the cops with this? No, Dan growled, scaring all three of them. No, I can't. You have to let me go. I'm not asking you to join me. And I'm not letting you go alone, Abby said stubbornly. She shot Jordan a look, but he just put his arms up as to say, what? I have no idea where I was going with that, but he just put his arms up to say his hands were tied. There we go. Seriously, you guys, I love you both, but I just can't do it. I wish you'd listen to reason and stay out here with me. He reminds me so much of Ron. They'd reached the door to the warden's office. It was unlocked, just as Dan expected. Whoever had sent him the note was already down there. It's fine, Dan said, pulling open the door and taking one step inside. This isn't your fight anyway, Jordan. It's mine. Before following him inside, Abby darted after Jordan, giving him a squeeze and then a kick in the shin. Rip-off artist. This gesture seemed to sum up their trio nicely. Trio. I'll be seeing you soon, butthead, she whispered over her shoulder. You better, Jordan called back. Dan tugged Abby along, anxious to confront whatever was coming. One way or another, they would find out who had been terrorizing them, be it ghost or copycat or what. Reception was, of course, deserted, silent and cold. They walked the now familiar path to the warden's office. Dan remembered the weird email he'd received during his date with Abby. I don't know. Patient 361, question about Thursday session. 2 more hours. It was Thursday night. Uh-oh. Dan? He looked up to find Abby staring at him, a tiny, worried smile on her lips. He shouldn't have been involving her in this. She should have been upstairs in bed, safe and warm, away from whatever madness lurked down there. But he couldn't think of anyone he'd rather have at his side. A battle tiger. I don't know. Did you guys ever watch He-Man? Never mind. Let's go, he said. He shivered, convinced someone was just on their heels, breathing tendrils of hot air down his neck. Whenever he glanced behind, there was no one there, yet he couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched and followed. I hope it's Jordan. Dan and Abby ducked behind the ceiling, filing cabinet, there we go. I saw the island and cabinet, never mind. And through the gap in the wall. The darkness was heavy, impenetrable, but Dan tiptoed ahead, turning to make sure he made it safely through the passage. He squinted into the shadows. There was nothing unusual about this room either. The alphabetized cabinets were all in their correct places, and the familiar moldy chill blustered up from the stairwell to the right. Abby put her foot on the first chair, looking braver than Dan felt. Was it always this dark? Dan wondered. Yes, Abby replied brightly. I never was sure how to pronounce that word. Tapping her cell phone against her head. You just have to point your flashlight up instead of at the floor. That doesn't do much. Dan swung the beam of his light around to emphasize the point. I still can't see anything. Dan joined her on the stairwell, shining his light down into the bleak tunnel below. Abby grabbed his hand, and they took one step at a time, stopping halfway to pause and listen. There was nothing to hear but the hushed sounds of their own breathing. This was part of the killer's plan, he thought, as they turned the corner at the bottom of the stairs and continued on, or into the long hallway of empty cells. The descent was its own torment. He could feel his body wanting to go faster, rush, adrenaline flooding his senses. But he knew they could be ambushed at any moment. Vigilance might be their one line of defense. I miss you, Mad-Eye Moody. They moved back to back down the row of abandoned cells, each of them casting their glances in every direction. This way they could make sure they weren't being followed and weren't going to stumble over any of the gurneys and debris littering their path. Dan peered into each room as they passed, taking mental stock of what should be in each one. Near the end of the row, he stopped, staring at a floor that was empty but shouldn't be. Not only did he distinctly remember an object of some sort, there was a spot in the dust where that object had been. What is it? What's missing? Dan held his breath, a fragment of a memory, a delicate song returning. The music box was no longer where he'd left it. He didn't even see shards of porcelain. Someone has been here. Beep, he whispered. What? Abby whirled to face him. What's wrong? Someone was here, he said. Or someone is. No sooner had he spoken the last word than he heard a shrieking metallic scrape overhead. They froze, and for a long moment Dan wondered if it was a pipe bursting in the ceiling, or else Abby snapped into action, sprinting back the way they'd come. He followed, realizing a second later what must be happening. It was the file cabinet. Someone was trying to trap them inside. Uh-oh. Abby raced ahead, scrambling up the stairs as she took them 2 and 3 at a time, but they reached the top too late. The cabinet was already blocking their way out. Abby ran over and shoved herself against the cabinet, scrambling for purchase with her fingernails. Dan could hear her gulping for air just above the deafening thunder of his own pulse. Trapped. They were trapped, locked up in the dark of their final cell. No, they couldn't be trapped. Dan thought of Jordan out there, first hoping for a savior and then wondering darkly if Jordan was the one who had done this. Dan could hardly trust his own mind. It stood to reason that his friends were no better. Come on, help me, Abby grunted, giving another push with her shoulder. Who's out there? Stop being a coward and show yourself, Dan shouted. He moved to Abby's side, adding his own strength to hers, but the cabinet wouldn't budge. He beat his fists against the metal, shouting, "Let us out!" until his voice went hoarse. He heard Abby suck down a shuddering breath before collapsing in tears against the wall. She checked her cell phone. No reception, she said, wiping a tear out of her eyes. Who would do this, Dan? Shh, I hear something. Uh-oh. They fell silent and listened. Behind the cabinet, Dan distinctly heard the shuffling of footsteps. He thought, there we go. He thought he heard a click, maybe the soft tap of a woman's heel, but then nothing. I have no idea. One thing I like about this book, it really hasn't gone where I thought it would. They listened as the footsteps moved away from the office and became faint. Abby pushed against the cabinet one more time, digging her legs into the ground, but it seemed to have been wedged in place from the other side. Dan aimed a kick at the cabinet and then stumbled backward, grabbing for the wall to keep them from falling over. I can't believe it. Why would he lead us down here just to trap us inside, unless he has further plans and he needed us out of the way? Who is he? Abby said. You're really scaring me, Dan. As opposed to the situation? Let's just give ourselves a second to catch our breath, and then we'll try to push it again together, okay? Dan nodded. She was right. Panicking wouldn't help anything. They'd get out of here, and they'd punish Dennis, or whoever was copying him, once and for all. Then Dan heard a sound like the soft scrape of a shoe over wood. It was coming from the stairs behind them. What was... He didn't get to finish his question. A dark shape emerged, hurtling toward them. He heard a hollow thud, and Abby toppled into his arms. Dan's last thought, before he fell, was of her. Look how pretty she looked just then, poised as if dancing. Her lips parted and her dark braid coming undone. Then he felt the blow on the back of his head. Let's see, how long is this chapter? Nope. Too long. I'll read next time. Okay, so both chapters were relatively the same length. This one a little bit shorter. Let's see. Stuff to talk about. Okay, I'm about to start playing some more Costume Quest. That should be a lot of fun. I wish I had more costumes and more time. Oh well, anyway. Let me know who you guys think is going to die on The Walking Dead. My sister thinks it's going to be... I think she said Daryl. Our family, we don't want to lose Glenn. They could kill anybody else, and we'd be okay. It would hurt, but we'd be okay. So let me know who you think is going to be, who gets killed. Who you'd be okay with losing, and we'll talk about it next time, which will be Tuesday. Well, I guess I can talk about it tomorrow when I play Costume Quest if I don't leave the game anytime soon. Although I play for like 30-minute intervals, and most of that is running back and forth, so it's going to take me a while. Anyway. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any suggestions for books to read after these, if you have any things you think I should study about these two books in particular, or any of the ones I've read before, to help me with my own writing, be sure to let me know down in the comments. And until next time, goodbye everybody. Also, yes, I'm aware I'm wearing pink.